Based in Washington, D.C., and I run a website called greenisthenewred.com. And I focus on how the governments and corporations have been labeling environmental and animal rights activists as the #1 domestic terrorism threat, according to the FBI, even though they've never harmed a single human being. And really the message I'm trying to hit home with this work is that it doesn't matter how you feel about animal rights or environmental issues, or how you feel about some of the tactics that some groups have used. But at the end of the day, this rhetoric and using this word terrorism so recklessly is really putting all of us at risk. And it's making everyday people afraid of using their rights. And that's something we all should be very concerned behind using this terrorism language. It's the same motivation that's been used throughout history in different types of smear campaigns. The Red Scare of the 40s and 50s of demonizing the opposition. And that's to instill fear. It's to make people afraid of using their rights. And that for the ultimate purpose of silencing dissent, and as an outgrowth of that, protecting corporate profits, protecting the status quo, protecting people in power from change. Unfortunately, we've seen this throughout history for all the social movements that we now revere, even in textbooks and in monuments and in national holidays, as being the right side of history, of the Martin Luther Kings and the Mahatma Gandhis. And they were all demonized, and they were all surveilled and harassed and smeared. And unfortunately, those same dynamics are going on right now with people that I feel are ultimately going to be looked at in the same way as being on the right side of history. Well, I think Earthlings is a great example and a great resource of learning about why so many diverse groups of people are choosing to take drastic changes in their life and affecting change in the world around them. I mean, I think it's a brutally condensed introduction to why animal rights and environmental activists feel the way they do. I mean, it's sometimes hard to articulate, especially with the work I'm doing. People always ask why certain individuals go to what are perceived as extreme lengths in defense of the environment, in defense of animals. And unless you've seen some of the footage of what's going on, unless you've really seen, not just read about, but seen some of this activity, it's impossible to start to talk about it, to start to understand it. And so I think this is a really important resource for reporters, for academics, for anyone who's looking for an explanation of some of the motivations of the animal rights movement. In reporting, I've heard so many inspirational stories of how people became the amazing activists that they are today, and some of it is just through simple things like seeing the type of footage that's in Earthlings or in a flyer they picked up at a punk rock show. That inspiration can come from so many different places, and it's really up to the individual then, what are you going to do with it? I mean, are you going to sit on it, put it in the back of your mind, try to forget about it? Are you going to step up and act on those things that have such a profound impact on you the moment you see it? And I think that's, people respond differently to it, but across the board, people I've heard have this kind of moment of awakening after which things aren't the same again.